Welcome to the Arsenal show. We are live. Arsenal have gone from top at Christmas to fourth. There are Arsenal fans out there saying that they will never win anything with Mikel Arteta in charge. They're saying that if we have not won anything by the end of the season, Mikel Arteta needs to go and we need to bring in someone like Antonio Conte. The people are losing their heads already. Literally 2 points behind top, and people are going crazy. I'm joined by Steve, Kate, and Melvin Marks. How's everyone doing?
Yeah, fine, thanks.
Yeah, good, mate. Yep, happy New Year to everybody out there.
Yeah, happy New Year to everyone.
Of course,
well, maybe not.
Well, Steve wants to see what people are saying first. First and foremost, Steve, we not a great New Year Christmas. As I said, we were sitting top of the league. It was looking good. De Zerbi's singing Mikel Arteta's praises, and then we go into the West Ham game, have multiple opportunities on goal where we can't score a goal, and then we go into the Fulham game the other day and lose 2-0 to Fulham. What's your thoughts on the drop off? What have you noticed that seems to be the issue at the moment with Arsenal?
I don't know. There seems to be quite a few things that don't seem to be right at the moment. But it's like what you said there, like in the introduction. It was only a week ago that we were sitting at top of the league, and it's a week later we're sitting fourth, 2 points behind. But there are worries. There are worries. The Fulham, you could see results like these two results that we've had over Christmas coming. At the time it was terribly surprising. Looking back now, you could say a little bit that you could see them coming a little bit, because of the way we've been playing. Maybe sort of going back to the start of the season, and I think everything's come together, if you like, whatever the word is, over these last two games, and the frailties are sort of, really showing, come to light. We'll get into it tonight, but there's a lot. Fulham, the first game, West Ham, a lot of people were saying that we controlled that game. We played well. I didn't think we played well. After 20 minutes, I just knew we wasn't going to win that game.
What was it? What was it about that game? Let's break it down, that one when we're going between each other. What was it about the West Ham game that you where people said that we played well? I think we had 30 chances on goal, 8 on target, 75% possession, 90% passing accuracy. What were the issues that you saw in that game?
It's funny when you read out in stats, because all through that game, I never felt we was going to score. I never felt we looked dangerous. I think, and that's because just the lack of confidence I have in the moment I've got in our which I think is the main problem, is our front three. And yes, okay, we could be better at the back, but we've let in a few goals. Look, this again, we could get into that. There's mistakes, but just on the West Ham game, I just never, as much as all the possession that we had, the 90% possession, the amount of the shots that we had, I never felt, I was sitting there like it was a friendly. I never felt we was going to score, and I always thought that I just knew. I just thought West Ham are going to go up there. They're going to get a goal, and this is exactly what happened. I think I just think when we get the ball, up until like the final third, into the offensive areas of the pitch, I just think our forward players are not playing the ball in the right areas. They're not, and our finishing it must be said, has been pretty pathetic. You know, that you can't really remember. You say 30 shots, you know, but how many of those could you remember the goalkeeper, you know, making a decent save?
Yeah.
You know, I can't remember nothing. I mean, it's 1 week ago now, that game, but I can't remember nothing. There's a lot of problems. We can go, you know, we can talk about defence, we can talk about the midfield. But I think for me, this season, there's something. Saka's not been the same. We've got to talk about Saka. You know, we've got. There's something. He's not been right since the beginning of the season, and he has got the numbers, and he has got the assist. But you know, we've also got eyes. Do you know what I mean? He ain't the same player. Martinelli's not the same player. Jesus ain't the same player. So on that West Ham game, that seemed to me that it's just the confidence. I've no confidence in our forward players at the moment.
Melvin, the West Ham game, we're focused on that for a little bit. 30 shots, 8 on target. I agree with Steve with regards to, I know that people will say we had a record number of touches in the box, but I'm not seeing like clear cut. Yes, okay, Jesus should score a header, Saka should have scored a header. Saka hits the post in that game. Maybe he could have cut it back, but he hits the post. But I'm not seeing anything which is like we're breaking against teams, we're hitting them on the break, and we've got one-on-ones where we're putting nice balls through the lines and our wingers or forwards are running onto it and tucking it away. I'm not seeing that. It seems a lot. Sometimes it's a bit messy. Sometimes it's in areas which are quite congested. What's your thoughts on Arsenal's lack of scoring opportunities or scoring full stop?
Good evening. Well, I think out of the 8 chances on target, I think only about 1 or 2 of them would have been a goal. They were just very softly hit, like chipped. It was not as if the goalkeeper broke into a sweat. We didn't make him actually do anything. Yeah. And what upset me, I don't know why I didn't go to the game that night. I got back late. So I just managed to get the kick off and get him back, is that they kept saying how well West Ham defended. Well, number one, we made a lot of chances. Considering we had 8 on, we should have scored 3 or 4, in my opinion, if we were at the races, which we weren't. Jesus, as you say, should have scored with 2 ordinary headers, not difficult headers. The second one was worse than the first.
But it's a technique. I see him do that last season a lot. Where he heads up. He heads up. He doesn't get his head over it.
No, exactly. You've got to say good morning to the ball. That's all you got to do. That's all he had to do. The goalie was nowhere to be seen. And when it comes to the, you know, we might have had control of the ball, but we didn't have control of the game, if that makes sense, because we were doing what West Ham wanted us to do. Exactly. They wanted us to mess around with the ball, get to the last third, and by that time they'd got all their men in a row, like a game of chess. They knew exactly what they were doing. Their centre halves, as well as they did play, but not as well as I thought the commentators said they play. They didn't have to act. They weren't stretched. We never stretched their defence. They were just in the same spot the whole time. They didn't have to move their defence. And what you're talking about, Steve, about attacking, all our players, not just the attackers, midfielders as well, and to the defence to a degree, because they're part of our attack at times, they're all static. It used to be last season when an Arsenal player got the ball, he had 4 or 5 options. People were running off him all different directions. Nowadays, any Arsenal player get the ball, he looks up, he's standing still, number one. That's why whoever it is, Saka, whoever gets tackled. And he's got people that are just standing there that are really in not that much better position than he is. They're not drawing anyone in. So, as I say, it's very easy to defend like that. And you're talking about Saka and Martinelli. I'm going to give a little bit more space to Martinelli. Yes, he hasn't been as good. And he's made mistakes where normally you would expect him to score one-on-ones, or his shots have been... I mean, the thing against Liverpool, he missed an open goal. The goalie was out. They had a defender in front. He didn't hit the target. Was it the Liverpool game, was it, or West Ham, where he should have scored? He got a rebound and he just hit it past the post. He should have scored. Anyway, but I'm giving him a little bit more rope of leeway because he misses Xhaka, without a doubt. He's got no one to play with. We haven't got a left back that comes up. I know that Zinchenko does, but Zinchenko never plays him in. If he gives the ball back to him, the ball from Zinchenko normally will go inside. It takes Martinelli out the game, and you can't ask Martinelli to keep doing it himself, and that's made him greedy. And the amount of time, I think it was the game, might have been the West Ham game, where he kept trying to beat 3 or 4 players. You can't keep doing that. Even if you beat the first 2, the third or the fourth ones, they're going to get the ball. And he's got become a bit greedy, a bit like Jesus to a degree. Both become too greedy. If you're hitting the ball about and running into space, you've got more chance of opening up defenses than getting it, stopping, then trying to beat this man, and then giving it to someone. Oh no, it's just the whole thing is slow, quick, slow. It reminds me of the Holding days when he used to get the ball and he went to the left back, to the right back, to the right back. We should just throw caution to the wind when we attack. Don't worry, unless you think you're going to lose the ball and the other team are going to score, go throw caution to the wind and try and play those 60-40 balls, because you get it right, you're going to score or have a very good chance. We're playing it like a game of chess, and it's slow.
I was going to say, Steve, have you noticed that the pace of our play has slowed down in our breaks? Even I've noticed even little things on throws, so throw-ins, they slow it down. They pass it. They go rather than a quick throw. They won't do a quick throw. I've noticed just in general when we're hitting on the break, you think they're just going to get it down the wings, hit on the fast break, and they turn back in. And I know it's definitely a tactic. It's definitely a tactic.
Yeah, it is.
Our play has slowed down all season. We mentioned it at the start of the season. There's something different. We couldn't work out quite what it was. But one of the things I've noticed is our play has massively slowed down, and I don't know why. Steve, you're saying you've noticed the play slowed down. It's clearly having a detriment to our attacks as well.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. I mean, the urgency is not there, is it? I think that's the right word. The urgency of the side has gone. They are playing a different way. Mikel's decided at the beginning of the season to play a different way. We said that we would wait, and see how it would pan out, because we pretty much understood what he wanted to do. He wanted to play with the inverted fullbacks rather than fill the midfield up, and for people like Havertz and Rice to get further forward, and that type of thing. So you would have thought we could be more attacking coming through the middle, but the urgency is not there. What is it? I mean, Martinelli and Saka. Every time they get the ball, there's 2 players on them, and they just seem to lack ideas. We seem to lack ideas now. We seem to pass it around, and not have a clue what to do. And then I think teams just sussed us out. What we do. We out to the wings, and then Saka cut inside, or Martinelli will try and take player on, and they don't do nothing different. They don't do nothing different. And I think Mikel's seen that, and he's tried to change it a little bit. And at the moment, it's not working. And we're seeing less goals from Saka. We're seeing less goals from Martinelli. We're seeing less goals from Odegaard. And look, we don't expect them to score as many goals as they did last season. I mean, that was a freak season. I mean, not many teams, even Man City, don't score that amount of goals. But if those players ain't scoring goals, then you've got your forwards got to be scoring. You've got to have your killer who's scoring goals, yeah. Because we can't expect Martinelli and Saka and Odegaard to hit 15, 18 goals every season. You can't. There's not a team in the world that does that. We had like a bit of a freaky season. So if that's not happening, you need a killer up front. And for me, Gabriel, I'm really worried about him. I think I said to you in the chat. He's not, when they're not doing it, when they're not scoring it, when they're off form, he's got to score.
Yeah.
He's got to be that killer. And I'm afraid he's not. He's not that killer. He's missing easy chances. He's running back. You see him more in the midfield, and we're not scoring goals, and we're not creating chances. And I mean, the only, I mean, yes, we pack the midfield. So you think, well, people can arrive from the box, come into the box, and then you score goals, right? And over the last few weeks, Havertz has been doing that, hasn't he? He scored like 4 goals where he's popped up in the box and headed it in or tapped it in. We've come through the middle. That's great. That's brilliant. But you can't expect him to do that every week, right?
Mm.
So I can't believe people were calling him out against Fulham, Havertz, right? Because they were always shit. But then you get the old Havertz haters. The fact the last 5 games he's probably been one of our best players, but people want to call him out against Fulham. Absolutely ridiculous. But that's another thing. But I'm worried about Jesus kids. I think they've sussed us out. Saka and Ellie have got to come off the wings more. They've got to cut inside. They can't keep staying. They stay too wide. They're too wide. They've got to come in. They've got to come into the middle more. They've got to help Jesus in the middle. But again, he's not
But
scoring
you're not
enough
going to
goals.
get any overlapping from Jakub Kiwior.
No.
Zinchenko isn't one that overlaps and gets down the flanks, which has been a detriment to Martinelli's game since he's come in. Again, we had to take the pros and cons with that one, because what Zinchenko brought last season, however, Martinelli is suffering. I think he did all right at first because Gabriel Jesus was the link-up play for Martinelli, but now that seems to have gone, and there's no real proper cohesion between the front three. The only one I'm seeing that's linking things together is Martin Ødegaard.
100%.
And he can't do that here, there, and everywhere.
Does that tell you something, though, Kears? Does that tell you something, Kears, right? Because I think over the last few games, he's been one of our best players, Ødegaard. Yeah?
I think he's been excellent.
Been absolutely outstanding, right?
Yeah.
I see him on the ball. I see him twisting and turning and looking up and chasing, looking at Saka, looking at Martinelli, looking at Jesus, right? They're not making no runs. You've got Saka staying out wide, calling for the ball on the wing again, right? He doesn't want him on the wing. Cut inside and make the run. Martinelli, stop staying out wide onto the flank. Cut inside, move in. Jesus, make a move into the middle. Move around. Ødegaard is on it. He's looking around. He's moving about. The only person in the last 4 games who has made runs into the middle, scored goals, is Kai Havertz. He's the only one that scored the goals. Only one. And that's because he's running from the midfield, right? So the only place our goal scorers are coming from is from there. The rest of it is bits and pieces. It's yeah. I mean, you saying about Ødegaard there sort of tells you something, really, because when was the last time, as good as he's playing, when was the last time you see him play a ball through to one of the players, or what's
There's nothing. There's nothing. And when it is, it's the wrong decision. When it is, it's the wrong decision. I've seen Saka hit the side netting 3 times in the last couple of games, and it's okay, he hit the post once, but a couple of the other times he should have cut it back. And the same happened with Eddie Nketiah. Eddie Nketiah got put through in the last game in the first half, and he's tried to have a shot at a silly angle, and they pan straight to Jesus, who was sitting on the bench, and even Jesus was pointing out, you've got to cut back there. And what it seems to be happening as well, I'm seeing, is frustrated forwards in positions where I feel like last season they would have cut it back. This season they're going for shots. Martinelli's he's one who is criminal at that at the moment, and he's not been in the best of form, but I can see he's definitely trying to play his way in form. Let's quickly go to some of the comments. Someone said there's no balance in the midfield. Declan Rice doesn't have the support he's saying, which is why there's more pressure on the defence and why we're not scoring like last season. Arsenal's Eddie Nketiah and Gabriel had combined touches in the penalty area versus Fulham. A combined 28 all game. Arsenal made a total of 5 passes in the opposition's area against Fulham. You hardly. And the thing is, I say as well, for all that our strikers should be scoring, yes, Gabby Jesus should be scoring. We've got to be creating more chances. We have to be creating more clear-cut chances on goal. Like against Fulham, there was 2. There was two opportunities to put in the box. One was a really nice ball, and again, it was a bit of a surprise that Jesus hasn't thrown himself at that earlier. Not clear cut. Not clear cut. Over and over again says, good to see you on the pod, Melvin. Good to see you over and over again. Make sure everyone's pressing that like button. Melvin, the Fulham game, we saw kind of not the opposite to the West Ham game, but the Fulham game, it felt like no hope. Although we scored early in the first 5 minutes, I think between the first 5 minutes and the 80th minute, Arsenal had one chance on goal, one chance on target, and 8 chances on goal. And that's like 8 shots from anywhere. That's not 8 chances, that's 8 shots to Fulham's 13. And Fulham had about 5 shots on target as well. There's definitely a big issue, and it seems to be getting worse.
Well, I mean, when you talk about the Fulham game, just back to the West Ham game for a second, we didn't make a lot of chances, I know, but the 2 Jesus got with his head,
100%.
Any centre forward worth his weight, worth his salt, should score, and if he doesn't, you've got to be thinking about something. So I know there's no excuse for him. He should have scored at least 2. Both goals he should have scored, and you would have been shocked if another player from another team wouldn't have scored that. That's number one. On to the Fulham game, first 5 minutes we scored the goal. We thought, are we back in? Have we turned the corner, right? And then we didn't do anything. They had the next 8 shots on goal or something. I didn't realise it until the stats came up. And what it was is like someone took all the energy out of us after 5 minutes. We've done our bit. Let's sit back. We could have gone at Fulham. They'd lost 3 on a trot, 1-0 down at home. Most other teams would have smelt blood. We didn't. We just sat back. And when you talk about we play football controlling wise, it's lazy football to some extent. And what we can't do, and it's proved it, is when we stop playing that, if we play fast football for a bit, we get on top, we score or we don't, and then we take our foot off the pedal. We as a team are not clever enough or good enough when things go a bit wrong to put our foot back on the pedal and go, you know what, we've got to put it up a gear now. We can't do it. We go from third to second, then we just can't get back up to third. And we finished up Fulham in first gear. They looked more likely to score than us. They had the energy. They had the chances. We had a little bit of fortune not to go 3-1 down. That free kick as well was bloody good. Hit the bar or something, didn't it? The free kick.
Yeah.
And on the break, they looked so far more dangerous than we did.
Robinson looked like a player for the first time I've ever seen him.
Well, last year,
rubbish.
He was crap last year.
Yeah, I know.
He let in. Who did he let in at the far post to score with a header?
He was a headless chicken the last 2 times I've seen him play.
Clueless in Seattle.
He looked very good the other day.
He looked like a lot of these players when we play against them look like world beaters. When we played Luton, the midfielder from Everton, what's his name?
Ross Barkley.
He looked like, wow, this is a player. What's his name? Barkley. Is that the same? That can't be the same. Like, he's finished, mate. He was finished 12 years ago. We can't have him. And he looked like a world beater. These players against us, we seem to make them look so good. And also you could have played till the end of time and not scored. You knew that. You're sitting there going, it ain't happening. It ain't happening. Shall I make a cup of tea now? Or just no, I might as well wait just in case I missed the goal, in case there is one. I'll never forgive myself. And it was like, you knew it was never going to happen. And I know that people had to go at Arteta for not changing it. He changed it to 3 at the back, didn't he, near the end?
Yeah.
Well, they probably never played like that ever because he never changes it to that, does he? So they were probably going, no, we can't do that during a game. We've never done that before, change the system during a game. What's he mean? And we were worse after that, funnily enough. I'm not blaming him because that's why it happened.
Yeah, he was trying something.
It just shows up things that we're not clever. We watch football. We think we're clever, but we're not. But things came home to roost on most certainly against Fulham. QR, the left back. Well, he's not a left back. The one who played left back.
Yeah, he's
not a left back. He's a centre back.
Yeah,
he's not a left back, and basically we got found out. Right, Ben White. I know I'm going to get a bit of stick for this. He's not a right back. He
You're not
does
going
a
to get
job,
stick. Not for me,
but
anyway.
he's not a right back. We play the same way as City. We play with 4 centre halves in the defence. The difference between us and City, number one, their players are better to a degree. Not Saliba, if you like, but the two guys who play at fullback know their job, but as a fullback better than we've got, though they're centre halves. And also, City have got the luxury; they've got a very good midfield. We haven't got a good defensive midfield. We've got Rice, who's terrific. The other two, Odegaard and Havertz, if you like, whoever, cannot tackle. So he gets his foot in sometimes, Havertz, but he doesn't what I call tackle and stop the ball and get the ball moving. He'll tackle, the ball go wherever it go. He'll try and find it again. If we're lucky, we'll gather the ball. Whereas City have got 3 quality midfielders with Rodri, who is superb, and 2 decent midfielders next to him. Rice by himself cannot support our back 4, in my opinion. We need more cover than that, and we've got to do something about that because it's just not good enough.
Yeah, but just on the midfield thing, though, Melv, it's like, I know what you're saying about the tackling thing, and you're right about, Odegaard and Rice. But City have got people in the midfield who can't tackle, right?
Like,
They've got Rodri who can tackle, but De Bruyne can't.
He puts himself about De Bruyne. I've seen him put himself about.
We can say that about Kai Havertz and Pep Guardiola.
He never puts himself about, mate.
He don't. Yeah, I think he does. But anyway, that's not the point. But Pep Guardiola, for me anyway, Pep Guardiola knows that De Bruyne's not there for tackling and Bernardo Silva's not there for tackling. And when Phil Foden plays in the middle there, he's not a tackler, is he? Right? They're not stoppers, right? They've just got Rodri. So what do? They play inverted fullbacks, right? And that's why City and Arsenal play inverted fullbacks. But fullbacks are supposed to counteract for players like Havertz, Odegaard, Silva, Foden, right? So you got Kior, you got Ben White, you got Zinchenko, and that's why we bought Timber. They're meant to come into the midfield to strengthen that midfield. So now you have got those players in the midfield who have got who can tackle. And City, and that's why Akanji and Walker can come into the middle. Now they have got people in the midfield who can tackle. That's why Stones sometimes plays in the midfield, because he gives you that extra player who you can tackle. So, right, Steve, that's why you've got those players in the middle of the park who they're there because they're not there to tackle what I feel. They're there to go and do more up the other end. But
Kirior doesn't invert. Kirior doesn't invert and can't invert and he can't get down the flanks, but he can't. He's not doing what Zinchenko does. And Ben White last season was an up and down fullback. Like, no matter what we say, as he's not a fullback, he's a centre back. Yeah. He was getting up and down the flanks. He's not doing that now. So something's changed there.
He's disinterested. To me, he looks disinterested.
What did Partey try and do? What did Arteta do at the beginning of the season, in the last season?
Because he tried to play Partey there because
that didn't work.
It didn't work.
And why did he do that? He knew, and the reason why he's doing that is because he wanted someone who could come into the midfield and strengthen the midfield up. Because he knows that Havertz and Odegaard can't tackle.
Yeah, but he needs options. It's not necessarily a case of he's gonna play Partey out there. He needs, for when Zinchenko's not on form, which is not at the moment, an option to bring in someone who can invert from the right, or someone who can like for like playing a left back who can invert as well. Timber out all season. Ben White has not been the up and down fullback. Partey's been out all season. There's no options for those inverted.
But he's right. Melvin's right. Melvin's right. But Ben White can't do that job.
He can't do it.
Ben White can't do it, and that's why Arsenal are looking for another right back.
Well, when I was talking about they're better defensively, their midfielders. What they've got as well, I don't think they're clodhoppers and just bang everything. They've got 2 midfielders next to Rodri who are very, very clever. They know their positioning, where to stand. They read the game better. And also, they're more mobile than our other two. Odegaard, as good as he is, he's not what I would call a mobile player. And he will not win a tackle when he's running against another player. If you're lucky,
I think he's a workhorse, though, isn't he, Odegaard?
He's a workhorse. They don't. But
he's a workhorse. They work hard.
His strength is not running next to a player, chasing a player and stopping him. Where the Man City players that you've mentioned can do it, and their reading of the game is far superior, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I think we've also got to understand we have completely ripped out our midfield and completely changed it. Like, no matter people want to talk about how good Rice is, how good Havertz is, it's not Xhaka and Partey who have been the partnership for the last 3 seasons. Yeah. So they're and I don't think we've even given that time for them to settle in conversations we've had. From the get-go, we've been like, this needs to work, Partey in here, Rice in here, this ain't working, Havertz and Rice ain't working, oh, this worked in one game. We've never stepped back and gone, do you know what, Arsenal have got a completely new midfield, which in most teams would take a little while to settle. We're straight in there, critiquing everything, which is what we do. That's what we do as fans. But we've got to understand there's going to be a slight change in that, and we can't expect what we had in the midfield for last season to have that exact same midfield this season. But when we are getting chances, we should be taking them. And our forward line, which is the same, our flanks, which are exactly the same, that's the worry for me. We're not getting anywhere near as much as we did last season. That's where
they're not getting any.
That's the problem.
Steve, Kieran, they're not getting any support our forwards. As bad as they are and have been, let's face it, Jesus his ball control's been off as well, which is one of his attributes, great attributes. But they're not getting any support. When Saka gets the ball, he stands still. He's waiting for the cavalry to arrive, and it never does. Last season,
Who's
I said he had Ben White, Odegaard.
But they're not going to go. They're not going to go. Ben White's not going to. He's not going to go.
He did last season.
That's the problem there.
I know that's what I'm saying. That's the difference with the football we played last year to a degree to this season.
That's Arteta's fault, then, isn't it? You know, if Saka's not,
if they're told to do that, Steve, yes.
Well, he's got to be. I mean, the whole season, Ben White don't go forward, so he's got to have been told not to go forward. I mean, and he's got to have been told to be the right back, inverted fullback. That's his role.
I'm not asking role. Yeah, but I'm not asking Arteta to go, right? I'm not asking him, no. But you can still be critical of him, and I'm quite critical of him. If it's because of him we're playing this football, I think he's probably not for the first time, overthinking it.
Yes. And I think we've said that before. But is this a manager who, in a very tight league against what is regarded as one of the greatest teams of all time to play in the Premier League, is he trying to find those differences before? Like, is he trying to preempt the change that needs to happen? Could he have gone into this season with a similar setup, a similar team, and then started to adapt it rather than go, okay, this is the problems we had last season. This is what we need to do. We need to fix this. We need to tweak this. We need to tweak this. And he's gone into the season because we saw him pre-season. I don't think we had a settled formation. I think he was trying every which position. Players played all over the place. Formations were different in every game. And then we get into the season, it's a completely different thing. Gabriel,
I'm not asking him to go. I'm not asked, but it's a come out of this run of two. There's only two results, two bad results. This run has come at a very bad time for Arteta because I don't know if you've seen it. Wayne Rooney's on the market again, so
oh, yeah, trouble him, maybe.
I think it's more the players. I think it's more the players. I definitely think Arteta's, maybe tried as overthought it, or not so much overthought it, but there's a question mark whether he should have changed the way we sort of played last season. Right, so I
if he's changed it, it's his fault, Steve, not the player's fault. If he's changed it, is it?
No, I think the mentality's wrong, mate. I think the mentality's there's something not right.
Who sets that? What do you think's not right?
There's something. Declan Rice come out in the last game, right? He said the mentality's wrong in the game recently, right? He come out and said it, right? And when you think about it, he said that, and I looked at that, and I really looked, listened to his interview, and then I thought about the way we've played, and he's right. The mentality ain't right. White looks, look like he can't give an arse at the moment.
Perhaps he's in love. He just got married, didn't he? Perhaps he's in love.
Saliba and Gabriel, I can take away from that. They've been absolutely outstanding. Zinchenko's been awful all season. I can't wait till Timber's back. Please just hurry up. Right, Rice has been Rice. Havertz, well, I'm still waiting to see. I'm a fan of Havertz. I think he's played well the last 5-6 games. He didn't do nothing against Fulham, but then again, they always shit against Fulham. Right, so I'm not, David Raya was man in the match against Fulham, and that ain't a joke either. He was. That's because the other lot was so bad. But Martinelli, Saka, Jesus, just look, don't look after players they was last season in certain moments of the game. And what is more worrying for me, how do you all of a sudden play the way we did against Liverpool, which was really good? Go and beat Man City, right? 1-0. We was absolutely fantastic on that day. Get to top of the league, and everyone's happy. And then the next game we look like crap. That's mentality.
I'll tell you how.
That's mentality. That's player mentality.
Steve,
it can't be nothing else.
Well, I tell you, it's a little bit more than that. It is mentality. I grant
it must be. You can't just switch off and switch on, switch on, switch off. That's in your head.
But when you look at the teams we've played and the teams we played very well against, they're all teams that are quality teams. Man City we played very well against, and Liverpool, and PSV we slaughtered them at the Emirates. Why? Because they came at us. They left so much space. It was unbelievable. Liverpool did the same. They attacked us. Not all the time, but they didn't sit 12 behind the ball. Nor did Man City, though they played what I call controlled football. When they're complete controlled football, they were very good. That we beat them. They still at times had men in our box, in our area, and our half, and we had a chance to break a few times. We didn't get that many chances against Man City, really, but it was a great result and a bit of a fortunate winner. So it seems that come at us, we can do it when they sit behind the ball, like Fulham of this year. Was it last year with Southampton who went down? Did we take 2 points out of Southampton? We took off 2 points. We took off of Southampton. They were rubbish, Southampton, because they put men behind the ball. We hit them with everything. It wasn't going to happen, and they nicked the goal to make it 1-1 at their place, and we couldn't get up.
Don't that happen with every top team, though, Melv?
But they got other way. They tried different things during the game, Steve. They've got like, I mean, you look at Liverpool right this season. They've struggled against Sheffield United. They've struggled against Luton, Man City. But they got more options.
Palace.
They got more options to score a goal than us. That's the thing. They've got so many different options.
Exactly. Their strikers get that odd goal. They're on form. They keep going. And our goal scorers are doing nothing. You have no confidence in them. You've always got that confidence that Salah's going to score one, or Arnold's going to score one, or someone's going to score one, right?
The difference is
they do them teams. Man City struggle, Liverpool struggle, against the lower teams.
Steve, unless it's Núñez of Liverpool, if it's Liverpool or Man City or even Man United to a degree, right? And Spurs, got to put them in it. They're more ruthless than us.
Exactly. So what's the problem?
They got a one-on-one. You're going, well, it's got to be a goal in it. With us, it's one-on-one. We've got a chance here. That's all you think.
So who do you, when you're in them one-on-one situations, when you need that goal?
Split second. I'm not talking about running off the goalkeeper.
Who are we looking at? We're looking at Martinelli, Saka. No, we're looking at
Martinelli. Should be the player. Saka.
We're looking at Martinelli. We're looking at Saka.
One he missed the other day, Saka, when he was at the far post and he ballooned it over the bar.
Yeah. So we're looking at those three players.
Yeah, right? Of course we are.
So if those three players were doing what they was doing last season, we wouldn't be having this conversation, and we wouldn't be mentioning the midfield or anything.
The midfield should be getting a couple as well. They should be ruthless. Oh no, Odegaard's missed a couple in front of goal as well this year. This
season, Ben White's had 1 goal and 1 goal contribution with 1 assist. Last season, he had 9 in all 9 in the Premier League. Sorry, 9 in the Premier League.
Wow.
Yeah. There's a big difference. So we can look at we can talk about formation changes. There was a tactical change where our right back last season, who was bombing down, and at points he was like, "Oh, I wish his crossing was a little better." By the end of the season, his crossing was a lot better, and he was not only doing that, he was scoring goals as well. There's been a big difference, and this season he doesn't. There's no way he's going to get to 9 goal contributions. Not in all competitions. No, because he's not getting up there enough to do it, and that's the difference.
When you've got to buy a ticket to win it, ain't you? You got to buy a ticket.
Yeah, when you have someone who can overlap, it makes the fullbacks think. At the moment, all the fullbacks have to do is concentrate on Saka, and that's a hard job as it is. Now, if you've got another player who's running down the wing, you've got to think elsewhere. And the job of Saka is a lot harder. Right now, it's made easier. I seem to see a game with Saka, go to take on a defender. The defender will win the tackle. You won't see Saka for the next 10, 15 minutes. And it's like, because what he'd do is going to get the ball, he's going to go to side, he's going to pass it back to Odegaard. Our forwards are losing confidence because they're not getting the outlet which gives them the option to have that to go either way when they're going up against these fullbacks. Those little tweaks in the team have taken away that spark that we have up front.
And you know what's taking it away? You know what's taking it away, which has cost us, might be 8 goals different, but is we can't defend the corner anymore and we can't score from corners anymore. That's a big factor. That is an enormous factor.
A corners that we went was it 100 and something games or something like that, something stupid, not 100 games. We went like nearly a season and a half where we didn't concede from a corner.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden we
every time we're worried now corner happens.
Look, and also I'm just going through because Steve, I know you mentioned about the difference in the Liverpool team where they struggled against teams such as Fulham, which they did. They only just beat Fulham 4-3. The difference in that one, Trent Alexander-Arnold gets a goal. You've got your midfielder gets a goal. The striker's standard to get a goal, but Trent gets a goal.
That was a worldie, wasn't it? That goal, worldie.
It's these. But Ben White was getting goals in games where we just win it by 1 goal. We've not got that. We're losing that. 14 goals came from Granit Xhaka last season. About 3 or 4 came from Partey.
He never scored 14 goals, did he? Xhaka?
No, 14 goal contributions. That's 7 goals and 7 assists he got. Which he's probably never going to get that in his career again. No, that is an outstanding season, and he had a great season.
Yeah, he did.
But even if you take that down to 3 and 3, I don't see Rice. Rice will just about get that. Where's Partey's though? You're not getting that from Jorginho. You need other options.
Well, that's probably where Havertz. He's probably expecting Havertz to score, isn't he?
To bring that 14 to do the
job to help. You know, with help with the goal tally. So the goals that's we're not getting from other areas. We're hoping because we're playing the inverted fullbacks now, and he's hoping that people like Rice and Havertz can push forward. And like at the beginning of the season, Rice was starting to get a few goals, weren't he? He went on a run where he started scoring goals. Havertz has gone on a run where he started scoring goals. We just need to for it all to come together. It's just I still go back to the front three. I mean, I know what you're saying about Ben White, and all season, he's not ever going to go forward. We're 20 games in now. I can count as many times on my right 5 fingers how many times he's gone past the halfway line. So that's not happening now. So we do have to look from the middle of the park or where things are going to happen. Can I give Saka a pass because of the Ben White thing? No way. No way. As much as it would affect Saka in some ways, I can't give him a pass. Because too many games this season, he looks like people have sussed him out. They put a couple of players on him, and he's just lost in games.
Putting 2 players on a player, in my eyes, doesn't constitute as being sussed out. That's just what they have to do to keep him quiet. I think if Does Saka need to do better? Yes, I think he needs to adapt his game because this is going to happen. Like if you're at this stage now and they're doubling up on you, then you need to adapt your game in some way because it's going to happen. It's happened to the best of them. And if you want to be the best, you've got to then get over that, like you did when people were just hacking you down, like you did when you had the in previous seasons, like you have adapted each season.
Yeah.
But
You know what,
teams
when you talk about picking teams, he's got to change things round now. Arteta, he can't continue as it's going. You know, who thought a year ago a fully fit, as far as we're aware, Jesus would be dropped and Eddie would play instead?
Oh,
who would have thought that?
Yeah,
let's
go on.
Blows my mind. That blows my mind. That does.
I mean, I can't believe Trossard played in the 8 again against Fulham. I just,
you know what I would do?
There was so many.
Yeah.
Look, Arteta being the sack and all this lot. I'm not even going to talk about it because
he can be criticised.
He can be criticised. Absolute nonsense. You know, a week ago we were top of the league and everybody was saying, "Oh, it's great, we're going to win the title."
Playing that well, though, Steve.
I've had a few cracks, but every
you know what formation I would do?
As a few cracks. You've seen it online. Arsenal fans, intelligent.
Yeah,
Arsenal
you're
fans.
always going to get that.
I tell you what. I'm an Arsenal fan. Arsenal online fans are the worst fans ever. They talk the biggest load of bullshit. Right,
yeah,
I'm not including people that watch this show. Right,
some of those, Steve, aren't proper Arsenal fans.
Biggest load. They talk bullshit.
No, they're not.
I'm sorry.
They're wind-up merchants, aren't they?
But I know some that actually are Arsenal fans. Right,
I mean, it's an expensive wind-up merchant if you're going to go to every game.
Yeah,
you're going to pay to go to every game.
These people have not got an absolute clue at football, and sometimes you can sift out the odd one or two and think, yeah. You know, I will argue with fans of other clubs and say we got the worst. They are the worst. I've never known anything. I work day to day and talk to loads of people in the football industry, right? And Arsenal fans talk the biggest load of arse. You know,
not all of us, though. Not all of us.
Not all of us. But I can't.
Give us a bad name, Steve. What's going on?
I'm sorry. They are in our circles. Because we refuse to talk to these people, we talk to the proper Arsenal fans. But this Arteta out and Odegaard get out and sack Arteta, I agree. It's just ridiculous.
As clueless as I am, you know what I would do to change it up for the next game? I know it's never going to happen, and why should it? It's only my stupid idea. I would take Saka off the wing. I would put Jesus there. I would play Saka left midfield instead of Havertz and play Havertz up front. I think that might give him a new lease of life, Saka.
That's a shout.
He's got two ways to go, and he gets the ball now, Saka, facing the right way, and he's dangerous. I think he's driving forward, and they can't afford to fail him in the box. I think that might work. And also, that would help Martinelli, in my opinion, because he's got no help. He's got no back coming up. And I think that might help.
But we agree. It looks like what we're saying is things need to change in terms of personnel. Whether it's you've got to rotate, you can't just keep sticking with the same team week out, week out, and expect.
And we're not panicking. We're not panicking. People will turn around.
No, we're not.
Well, look, you're 2 points off the top. You know, the worst you can be is 5 points off the top. Right? You know, halfway. You know, things like that. It's not that. We're looking at from the beginning of the season, and we're thinking that things have got to change now because things could get worse if they don't. You know, that's where we are.
Should we buy that geezer who's never got a game and he looks terrific to me? We should buy him. I don't know what he's going to cost. He's in our budget. That geezer called Emil Smith Rowe. Do you think we should buy him?
Oh, is Emil Smith Rowe?
He's gone, mate. He's gone.
Oh, don't say that. He's one of my favourites. He's a proper footballer.
He couldn't even get on the pitch against Fulham, and every single player was top.
That's not because of his ability, Steve. It's because of the manager that he didn't get on the pitch.
What? Yeah, you'd think that if Martinelli's not been clinical. I think he's always got energy. He's always going to keep on going. He's always going to keep on going at the fullbacks and the defenders, but he's not been clinical with his final decision, final pass, final shot.
I mean, it's like we needed a
Emil
goal.
Smith Rowe if Emil Smith Rowe had a future, he would have got a game on that left. This is a player who scored 10 goals a couple of seasons ago. Was one of our best players?
I'm gutted. I'm gutted, but he's got no future at Arsenal.
Shame.
Absolutely no future. But I agree with changing it around a bit. I do agree with changing it around. Partey might come in, might make a difference. Let's try Havertz up front. But then again, that takes away from his goals coming from the midfield. But Trossard can't play in the 8. That was an absolutely ridiculous. Kior can't play as in the left back position. But then again, neither can Zinchenko. So at the moment, we haven't even got a decent left back. Tomiyasu he's off on the AFCON. You just wonder where we're going to go next. And it's like Melvin just said there. You think, Jesus maybe deserves a rest, maybe. But who'd you bring? You got Eddie. That's all you got. And then you've got Michael Arteta saying that we don't need any forwards. I mean, that is worrying. That is worrying.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I've said it for a long while. I don't see Arsenal bringing in anyone in the forward department in January. I just don't see it. I don't see it. It's such a big position that it's not something that if Arsenal can't get the player they wanted, then or the players in the list they wanted, I don't see him getting something like a stopgap. I don't see him getting in a player because he's come out of nowhere. They're going to get a player they want, and it probably the likelihood is going to be in the summer. There's a lot of issues at the moment. Steve, you mentioned the mentality earlier on.
Yeah.
How do you think, and why do you think that's potentially changed? Where do you think that's changed? Because we saw Mikel Arteta in his Amazon documentary, which was fully all about the camaraderie, the togetherness of the team, the right mentality, having a strong mentality. What's changed in a team which is massively focused around that?
Yeah, I mean, it's a really difficult question to answer because, for the reasons that you've just said there, because you've always associated this Arsenal team as having a strong mentality as being one of their biggest strengths. But it was interesting to hear what Declan Rice had to say. Is it because is it bad luck? The fact that especially Saka, Jesus, and Martinelli seem to have all hit bad form at the same time, and we can put Zinchenko and White into that. Is it just coincidence that all of a sudden 5 players are having bad days at the office more often than not? But yeah, look, something's got. Is it because the Raya Ramsdale thing? I mean, Raya must be loving this to an extent because no one's talking about Raya anymore. That's the last of people's worries. But is that one of the problems? Because of the Ramsdale thing and the outing of him and bringing Raya in, is there a lot of talk of bringing in a new striker and replacing Gabriel Jesus? Is that something that's going on behind the scenes? And we know that Arteta's not happy with Ben White and Zinchenko, and we know that Timber's waiting to come back, and obviously he looks like he'll be slitting into that left back position when he's fit. And we know Ben White looks off it, and he looks down, and he don't look like the player he was. And is that because because we know as well that we're looking for players? If it is that, then really they're not for us. As much as we love some of those names I've read out there, they're not really players we want at Arsenal. But look, maybe it ain't that. Maybe it's just lack of form. But it's hard. It's a hard one to
I don't think in this day and age as a player you could be thinking about any sort of transfer rumours that are coming in for any other player. Yeah, especially our defence. Look, I know we're very critical as fans, which sometimes it blows my mind. Like we are one of the best defences in the league, if not the best defence in the league this season. bar the last 2 games, which has taken us from a better stat goal-wise last season, conceded to, I think, maybe 1 over or just 1 under or about the same. But we have noticed that defensively, especially in the centre, we've been better. But it's been to the detriment of our goal scoring and going forward. Is that answer in bringing someone in a January transfer window, do you think, Melvin?
Well, I don't know what he's going to do now. I mean, my worry is that he thinks the ones we've got are good enough. I don't know about Keyboard. He probably doesn't rate him because he doesn't give him enough starts as a centre half. And why would you? The other 2 are doing so well. But he's got to get a striker, someone who knows where the net is now, and he's got to change things around. I don't know what it is. I mean, lazy journalism says it's going to be Tony, but I'm not sure if that fits his profile with the age and everything. So I'm not sure
it will happen, but again, it's all down to the numbers, isn't it? You know, and it's all down to a structure of a deal and what Brentford want. But
100 million.
But
100 million they can go, and of course
they're not getting 100 million.
Crazy, but even to suggest 100 million, it means that even to suggest 100 million, it means you want maybe 30 million less, 70 million for Ivan Toney.
So what
it doesn't mean the way we're playing and the system we're playing and the way it's going, it feels like whoever we buy is not going to change us that much to win the league or go where we want to go. We've fallen behind so far here. I'm not saying it can't turn around with a few changes. It can change. But at the moment, normally you think to yourself, go back a couple of weeks, and we weren't playing well, but you think just one little bit more to finish or nearly finish the jigsaw. He'll give us that impetus, this new player. He'll score a few extra goals, and everyone will come together. We'll have a chance. But the way the mood seems so poor. A couple of players look on the pitch like they don't want to be there, in all fairness. I mean, talk about Eddie again. All right, you can't. I've never knocked him trying. He's always tried. Though for me, he's never going to be the striker that we need. But even him on Fulham, he wasn't doing nothing. He was just like sliding to the right, sliding to the left, not looking for it, not running the channels. It was.
Do you know he hasn't scored an away goal, Melv? He hasn't scored an away goal.
For about a year, isn't it? For about a year.
December 2022, last time he scored away.
Really? Yeah, that's over a year.
I never knew that stat, and I was like, because I've been so vocal on how he scored so many goals at the Emirates that I never really thought about what he did away from home. I always said, he needs to score more. But when I see that stat the other day, I was like,
but
wow, that ain't it. What
you mentioned?
Yeah,
he's not away from home for some reason. He's not good enough. Not great at home either. But you mentioned, Kieran, about when he was put through against Fulham in the first half, and he hit the ball wrongly, and it went past the near post. When he should have either hit it across for a player, or if you can't see an Arsenal player, go for the far post. You've got more chance of scoring, right? That's a natural strike.
That's instinct.
Instinct. But what made it worse for me was also in the first half, the ball fell for him, a couple of ricochets in the box, the ball, and it comes to his left foot, and he powder puffed it into the goalkeeper. Now, a natural striker with instinct would smash that away or, do something with it. And he just went, paff. Oh, no, that was a chance. It's easy for me sitting there, but I'm not a professional footballer. And I've seen professional footballers do that. It was a bit different to the one who got the winner. Was it Reed? What's his name? The one who got the winner for Fulham? Who got the winner?
Cordoba Reed. Bobby Cordoba Reed.
Yeah. I mean, all right, it was easier for him, but he wasn't that far different. He was slightly on the turn, Eddie, and it came to him, but it didn't come to him fast. It was a soft ball come to him, and he just wasn't awake to it. And that to me was, you're a striker, mate. You got one job. Take the chances when it comes to you. And Alan Smith in the commentary said he's a natural finisher. After that, I thought,
he did. He said he's more of a natural finisher than Jesus, but
that's it. Yeah, I thought.
Do you think, lads? Do you think that when Arteta took over, right? He, obviously, I was never one. Even when we finished 8th, I could see progress, and just like now, I wasn't someone that was calling for anything, and I pretty much knew that he was going to be the man to take us forward. Now, like last season, we finished second, yeah, and I don't think any of us thought that that we would finish second. I didn't. It was only just as we got as further into the season and the way we was playing, right, and rightly so. We a lot of us thought we could win the league, and we could. We was in a position where we could win the league. But was we overachieving last season? Did we overachieve with the players we got? Is there a possibility that we overachieved?
Yeah, no, we did slightly.
Yes, I think we did. I think we did.
Are we looking now at this season thinking, oh, now we've got to go and win the league? Which you're seeing a lot of Arsenal online twats going, oh, we finished second last year. Now we're going to win the title this year because we've got Rice and Everton. And to me, that's a bit nonsense, right?
Steve, I said that at the start of the season.
You've got to look at where we are now. Yeah.
I said that at the start of the season because the language at the start of the season wasn't like, I want to see progression. I want to see, let's have another title challenge. The talk was, we've got to win the league this season. If we don't, we need to ask questions of Mikel Arteta. And it was like, what? Man City is still involved. Yeah, but Man City are a weaker team than last season. What? Yeah, but it's still Man City. Like, yeah, but they're missing so-and-so. They've still got Haaland, KDB. Like, you're talking about one player that you're talking about is left since last, or two players, Gundogan and Mahrez. And that's what you're going off of that's the weaker team. That, like, come on. Look, it was always going to be difficult. I think it's still got to be a season where we look to go and push for the league. But my worry is people's language already. I'm seeing people talk about Mikel Arteta, who finished eighth, and then we got Champions League. Now we're completely dismissing the season we've had last season and just calling it we've got Champions League. So is that all we're doing? Are we buying into the rivals' hands where they want to talk rubbish about Arsenal? We're taking on that language now, and that's what worries me, because I don't need to be going. It's not just what we think. We don't need to be going to what we had a few seasons ago, which was fans fighting amongst each other and a team that's not together. And that feels like it's already getting there already.
And that's where I blame the fans, mate. And that's where I won't rabbit on against what I think of Arsenal online fans. And I know Melvin goes to the ground and he watches the game, but all what you said there, now people thinking, oh, Arteta might not be it, or get rid of him. It's that reason why now all of a sudden apparently the Emirates now has gone all quiet. It's back to the way it was, and when you listen to fan cams and people go to the games, you hear them talk, you think like, is that feeding across to the players?
Yes.
Are they making it difficult?
I said it the other day. Us as a fan base are a reflection of our team. We see Tottenham, that their fans are a reflection of our team. We are a reflection of our team, and we crumble very easily. Like, it weren't even. At the start of the season, we had fans, when we drew against Fulham, saying we ain't going to win the league this season. How do we expect to keep up with Man City when we're dropping points against Fulham? People like Mystic Megs come out of nowhere and they start trying to preempt and guess things all of a sudden. They're doing it again. They're doing the same thing again. The season's done. Just like the season wasn't done at Christmas when we were top, it's not done now. So get a grip, pull yourself together and back the team, and stop making these assumptions or these predictions because you want to be right. Dad, see, I told you, I said that back in December that we weren't winning the league. Oh, well done. There's only one team that can win it, and you predicted that we weren't going to win it. Top bombing there, mate. It's like, I can't deal with that. That's what we've got to deal with now. Everyone wants to be right. Everyone wants to make a big statement that's right. And it's going to feed into the players because they see this, they watch it, they hear it. The press don't even go to journalists now. They go to fans. They see a big account on Twitter. This is what the big account says. And this is what a couple of fans underneath it says that got loads of like. Okay, this is what Arsenal fans think. I see it all the time. Our Arsenal journalists do it themselves. You go and see a headline. You look into it. That's that AFC A-Loop that said that, and you've quoted him and said that Arsenal fans said this. It's just like, it's just a spiral that I can already see coming, and it is seriously worrying me. And the only thing that can turn it around now is our own football team. Is by turning on that form and we all sort of galvanised together afterwards. Quickly before we go, Steve, any transfer news? I see Dominic Solanke popping up again. Tomiyasu looking like he's about to sign a new deal, hopefully, with Arsenal. And what else did I see there? De Ligt, which is another one that popped up as well.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't heard too much about Solanke or De Ligt, to be honest with you. Solanke, I can't see Bournemouth letting him go.
What's your thoughts on Solanke? Like, forget about whether you think we could sign him. What's your thoughts on it as a transfer target?
I don't think. I mean, I'm not 100% sure on Ivan Toney, to be honest with you. And I think probably for me, Tony's a little bit better than Solanke. I mean, he's, all of a sudden he's scored a few goals for Bournemouth and now he's worth 80 million. where like, at Liverpool and Chelsea and all the other clubs he was at, everyone was calling him rubbish. And now he's hit a bit of form for Bournemouth and now, people are touting him out as the greatest thing since sliced bread. He's decent. He's a good player, but I think as far as like, if he's the one, to come in and, take Arsenal to the title or the Champions League, no, not by a long way. But he's a decent player, and I think he'd do well for a team like Bournemouth and all that. To be honest with you, I haven't seen much of him, but he seems to have come on the scene very quickly, and then all of a sudden, apparently every club under the sun's after him. But no, for me, he's not someone who would, to take Arsenal to the next level. And Bournemouth would want, loads of money. And De Ligt, I mean, that would be a summer thing anyway. And I can't see that. I can't see that happening.
There's a rumor on Sky Sports tonight. I don't watch it. I happen to flick through that he might be going to a German club on loan or something.
Who's that?
De Ligt.
Yeah, possibly.
That's what on Sky. I'm not saying they know anything, but
where does he? He ain't going to come to Arsenal though. And what's he going to do? Take Gabriel's place? Is he? Gabriel's probably be better than Saliba this season. You could arguably say. I tell you.
I mean, I was quite surprised by the Ligt one. He's a player that I really, really like the look of when he was at Ajax. He went to Italy and it was a bit on and off and didn't really work out. He's gone to Bayern Munich. It's not really worked out. Is he the player? Is he the right player to be looking at? Is he the player that Arsenal need? Where is this room coming from? Is it just agents looking at to throw out his name at a big club? Because he's just gone to two big clubs in two different leagues, which I would say is not as good as Arsenal. This is the Premier League, and he's not done it.
Yeah. No, for me, he's he's a big name. I think where'd he come from? Was it Ajax at first?
Ajax. He's been to Juventus.
He was brilliant.
I think that's where he made his name. And he's a decent player. Yeah, I mean, at the moment, it seems to be strikers that mainly Arsenal are looking at. The names like Douglas Luiz, you're not going to get him. People are talking about Onana of Everton, but again, I haven't heard too much, regarding that.
Be a quiet January for Arsenal, do you reckon?
It does. It does. The most of the rumours of like in the striker department, if I'm to be honest. I mean, the defender. People say we need a defender. We bring in a defender. What type of defender? We're hoping that Julian Timber's going to be back in at the end of February. So,
I keep seeing people linking us with centre backs, and it doesn't make sense to me. We've got an abundance of centre backs. It's full backs we need.
Yeah, we've got full backs who can play as centre backs as well. So it doesn't really add up. And from the people I'm talking to, there's no real links there. Unless someone leaves. And I think people put out there, for instance, Kior's going to leave. Kior's not going nowhere, as far as I know.
I like him. All of a sudden, every time Arsenal play him at left back and he has a stinker, Arsenal are selling him. We play him at centre back and he plays well. It's like, this kid's got a future at Arsenal. It's like people can't make up their mind.
What do you think of Onana?
I like him. I think he's a very good player. I'd happily take him as a replacement for Thomas Partey. Good footwork, can dribble with the ball for a defensive midfielder, strong, quick. I really like him. I saw him last season when he came in. I think Frank Lampard brought him in, didn't he? And he had his debut against Arsenal. And then he played in the World Cup for Belgium. And he looked good in there as well. So, yeah, he's definitely a player.
One thing that interests me, Melv, a lot of people calling for Partey, aren't they? You know, to come back in as soon as he's fit. You know, a lot of people saying Partey's the answer. And I'd like to ask both of you, I feel if Partey comes back in that he'll slow Arsenal down even more. Not because of his ability, but he's not the quickest a person, is he? Or is it, you know, is it because his passing can get us up the field quicker? What do you think about that?
I think his passing definitely gets up the field quicker.
Yeah.
He gets the ball comes to me in one move, we're away. No, he's a quality. I wish we could have a fit Partey. I really do.
I think it's that. Yeah, I agree with Melvin here. I think it's what you said there, Steve. It's his passing. Partey. I think the problem with Partey when he first started is he was doing a lot, and it weren't quite working out. I think the second half of the season, he's just carried on from there. He's passing. He'll pass the ball past 4 players. It just cuts them out, and I think that's what the difference with Ødegaard as well. Ødegaard's coming deeper now because he's having to retrieve that ball off of a Partey. His other option is to the side of him. It's not deep. So before we had 2 options here, and then Xhaka's moving up the pitch. Now one of our options here, the options here. He's got to come and retrieve the ball from Rice. Maybe we've noticed in games where we've seen a Jorginho and Rice partnership. Ødegaard has maybe had a bit more of a forward say in the game. I think Partey will make a difference. Whether that's going to be Partey and Havertz or Partey and Rice, it's options that we haven't had, and we really do need those options.
Do you think like a lot of, again, this is just something we've heard, and you know, as it stands up a little bit. I mean, have you ever thought that maybe we could play Ødegaard in the 8 and put put someone else behind, maybe like Jesus, sort of like in the 10, like in the Alvarez row? Like this is just something that came into my head the other day. I'm blaming it on other people here. Like if you played like Rice as a 6 as normal, Ødegaard in the 8, yeah. Then Jesus, who I'm looking at now as the Alvarez type of player,
because he drops in so deep.
Drops in deep, and then the front 3 being.
But who's your front 3? Front 3 spearheaded by Eddie Nketiah, and that's the problem which we're going to have to speak about next week. You
would either get a new striker in, it'd be a new striker, or for now you play Havertz up front, right? So you'd have that Havertz sort of Jesus, sort of like maybe sort of coming in and coming out, moving. Jesus coming in the box, late runs, you know, work rate. We know he likes working rate. He's always in the bloody midfield anyway. And then Saka and Martinelli maybe out wide, maybe just coming closer in, something like that.
I'll try anything, but what it is, is the majority of the time we know what team's going out. We know what positions are playing. We know Saka's going to be on the right, and there's no other option. That's a problem. And then when Mikel Arteta speaks about the situation, yes, if you want to be a top player, you've got to play 95 games a season. It's like, what are you talking about? I've just watched Kevin De Bruyne, one of the best players the Premier League's ever seen, play 30 games in all competitions last season. He won the treble. Bukayo Saka played more than 30 games in the Premier League. What does that tell you? Your best players, you need to make sure you look after them. Your best players, you have to rotate them in games they don't need to be in.
Yeah, Grealish and Foden don't play loads of games, do they?
Did Pep play Kevin De Bruyne in game? Did Pep sit Kevin De Bruyne and Haaland in games and then have to bring him on with the last 10 minutes for them to change it, for them to win it? Yes, it doesn't always work out the way you want it to, but you have to give these players a rest. Like sitting on the bench and watching a game, that gives you a bit of hunger as well. You're breaking it down in your head like a manager. Okay, when I come on, I'm going to do this. He's dropping too deep. He's leaving gaps there. I'm going to exploit that. That's what you got to do. It
That's
helps.
what
It helps
annoyed me.
with your gameplay. It helps with your vision. It helps with tactics in play. It helps with everything. He needs to rotate it seriously. Like
That's what
someone
annoyed me
needs to
about Smith
say,
Rowe.
Mikel, you can't keep playing Saka on that right. You've got to bring in someone. You've
Yeah.
got to sell Eddie. You've got to sell Reece. You've got to sell Emil if you have to, and you've got to bring in 2 players.
Why ain't he
You've
been
got to
given
bring
a
in
go?
a
Why
right
ain't he,
winger.
why ain't he been given a go? Why he came
I
on
don't
again?
know. I don't
he came
know.
on
Why?
against West. He came on against West Ham, and I thought he looked quite lively
He's
Reece.
done well. Done well.
against. Yeah, I think it's
No, Smith Rowe you're talking about.
Yeah,
Smith Rowe.
yeah. I thought he come on and for these little cameo appearance.
I don't know.
I thought he was.
know.
I thought he was quite lively, but we know what he can do.
I
in the
don't
left,
know.
we know what he can do in the 10.
When you're seeing Trossard not
Can't
in
be
good form,
worse
like
than
I
that.
love Trossard, but if you're not seeing Trossard in good form, you've got to play on with Smith Rowe because Martinelli ain't in form at the moment. You've got to give him an option.
Yeah, I agree.
You've got to give him a go. He's a player who's going to go. He's not going to just have the ability. He's going to have the hunger. He wants to stay. He's a
He
hailing
wants
boy.
to prove the manager wrong,
He
doesn't
wants
he?
to prove the manager wrong. You're not going to
He
get
does.
that from any of those other players.
That's why.
You're
That's
not
why
gonna
I
get it.
mentioned him. That's why I mentioned
not gonna
Smith
get
Rowe. When you talk about hunger, and people sitting on the bench wanting to come on, and they should be hungry. I
I'll be
know that.
interested to see.
With Smith Rowe, I know that. I know that if he come on, he's getting 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there,
Yeah.
and then the whole team was. Look, let's not dress it up. The whole team was shit.
Yeah.
Against Fulham.
And there is something
and the
going
manager-
through the team, whether it's a lack of confidence, something is going through the team. I've not seen
manager
anyone
was shit
argue
as
with each
well.
other this season. We saw it between Gabriel and Rice. It was only a few words. It happens in football. It's not anything to watch, but there's a different buzz in the team at the moment.
Right. Do you
But
think
lack of
it's probably
buzz.
been spoken about before? Do you think Ramsdale is the reason why there's a little bit of tension there? Someone who's done nothing wrong, was big on the defence. He played well. I'm not saying he wasn't without fault, but someone who was part of this team, got us to where we wanted to go nearly, was a big part in winning a certain points in certain games. As I say, made his mistakes, but he seemed part of the unit. All of a sudden, he's been treated not greatly, and it's not as if he's been dropped for a new model. Mm-hmm. We've bought the same model with a different registration number.
Yeah, as a player in the changing rooms, who was a relatively big personality, I was captain. Who's someone who's been in exactly the same situation that Ramsdale is in. I'm a goalkeeper that makes saves, shot stopper. They brought in a player, someone who can play with his feet because they wanted to play out the back. Exactly the same. Yeah. So I know there would have been something through the team where there would have been some sort of disgruntled player slightly feeling for Aaron Ramsdale. Whether that would have made any difference to the team throughout, I doubt it. I personally doubt it. I think they definitely would have been an understanding amongst the players that have been like, look, Aaron, I can't understand it, mate. Like between themselves. But I don't think that is going to bring the team down as a whole. I think it's more to do with the questioning of the form, the questioning of just the form in general, how we've been playing. I think it's just snowballing. It's just bit by bit. We haven't had a great game. We've just got through it. We just didn't have a great game. We just got through it. We drew here. We conceded late to concede a goal, and we should have got more out of that game. Now we've lost, losing 2-0 to West Ham. Then we lose. We're making even less chance against Fulham. I think it's that. There is definitely something amongst the team where the mentality, they're just feeling not great about themselves.
I would like to think it's not that. Obviously, I'm sure we all would. We hope that at the end of the day, they're professional people who get paid a lot of money, and they basically playing for us fans. So they should go out there on a Saturday or in a week and performing no matter what's going on. Between the pitch. But saying that, when you think, but not it don't really come into the category of mentality. But I think if you look at, I always think that a team's personality is also something that's very important. Not just ability wise. Personality I think is a big thing in the dressing room. So when you take out, or someone's not the sort of personality they was, like Aaron Ramsdale, I'm sure in some ways it's probably going to, Raya's probably more of a quiet type of guy. Do you know what I mean? He may not, he may be in that case, we don't know. But I'm assuming that's what it is. But I think as well, again, on talking, on the sort of subjects of personalities, when you had Ramsdale, but when you had Granit Xhaka to that as well, when you take those two out, and those two big personalities out of the dressing room, I'm sure it makes a massive difference. I'm not saying it was a mistake to let Granit Xhaka go, because I think he probably wanted to leave anyway. But I hope that's what it was, because if we just let him go, that was a big mistake. A big mistake.
If he wanted to go though, Steve, you can't keep a player who doesn't want to stay, right? That's number one. So you can't. But what I did think Arteta might have missed this year, might make no difference at all. We were 6-0 up at home in the Champions League a month or so ago, 6 weeks ago. He had two kids on the bench. He could have given a run out to. Yes, it made no difference at all. Or he might have seen something and think, you know what? I think you're ready. He was a tester, and he never took the opportunity. And I was at the ground. I was thinking, why aren't he bringing them on? There's two of them, and I've seen these kids play at the lower level, and they look unbelievable. You don't know what a player's going to be like until he plays at the higher level. Well, this was the higher level, and he never gave him a 10-minute just to get the feel of it. They may not have to prove themselves, just to see, you know what, he got past him. He can go past players at this level. I'll give him a 10 minutes next week.
I've got a feeling he's been doing that with the other two, because if you notice, the two players that he has played this season, Koza Dewsbury and Sonogo Jr., they can both play on the right wing, whereas the other two, they're central midfielders. And how quickly are they going to out who's in that central midfield? Miles Lewis-Skelly's not coming in that central midfield. He needs a loan. And Ethan Nwaneri is far too young to be playing in Arsenal's first team, a team that want to be pushing for the league. Whereas the other two, Koza Dewsbury is very raw, but can play on the right. And Sonogo Jr. also can play on that right as well. And I think that's maybe why he has played those two in the games, because he wants to see if that could be an option for Saka. There is really no other option. And I personally feel that there's a little bit of reluctancy to... It's a hard position to bring in Saka on that right. You've got one of the best wingers in the world who's playing on that right. How often are you going to play? Would he rather be bringing a youth player through? Whatever he does, he needs to sort out an option, and it needs to probably be... It's got to be one or the other. It's a young head, or it's an old head that knows where they're at in their career. That one in the middle who's going to be vying for his place week in, week out is going to be in like a situation we've got with Raya and Ramsdale. Yeah. He ain't ever getting games, not over Saka. It's here and there. And I think that's maybe the issue that we've got with that position. That is all we have time for. We do have to cut off. Go on, Steve, quickly before you go.
No, I was just going to say, as a manager, that certain thing's hard, because if I'm I'm looking at what good are they going to do us this season? Like, he should have been doing all this in the pre-season. There's no use. They're not going to go and take us to a title now, are they? They're not going to help us now, really. So it's difficult.
All right, quickly, what JB said. Need another option and a way of playing. After another look would be great. U26 powerful striker would help. Oh, you said under 26-year-old. I don't think anything to do with Ramsdale, just hitting the wall, trying to play the Arteta away. All right. Thank you very much for everyone who's joined us tonight. James, Hente, over and over again, Arsenal. JV as well. Thank you. Make sure you press that like button. If you have not subscribed, make sure you press that subscribe. If you're watching on Twitter, come over to YouTube next time. Join us in the comment section. Make sure you press that like as well. Thank you for joining us tonight, Steve and Melvin.
Cheers,
Well,
mate.
thanks a lot. Enjoyed it
Pleasure.
again, as always. Thanks very much.
Peace out,
Thanks for
people.
having me on.
Stay safe. And watch it.